Hi guys, it's 4:30 p.m. on the 26th of February. We're nearing the end of the month. I wanted to give a little bit of an update as to what's going on in terms of the Jeffrey Wong, Sandra Wong daily bread situation. I gave them, if you remember from my last posting, I gave them till 6 p.m. yesterday. So today's Thursday. I extended it to 9 a.m. because I wasn't home. I had to go up and use the Christchurch food pantry there because Jeffrey Wong had trespassed me on the property because personal attacks, threats, and allegations, which in fact are all false because they had someone come in and start to harass the people. They had someone dressed like me. Her name was Michelle Satchel, and she was apparently, this is what I'm hearing from some of the staff over there at Daily Bread Food Bank, that she banged her head up against the post. She attacked Alison Gibbons because Alison Gibbons came out and she was using profanity on it. She walked out and she lit up a cigarette. That's what security saw. I don't smoke. I don't bang my head up against anything because that's just stupid. And anyway, so they're going by that information. So I had not heard anything from them at all, except 5 a.m. this morning. Alison Gibbons sent a list of food information to go get drop-off for food, right? Drop-in centers, which to my knowledge, all of them is closed down, and their client base has moved over to 191 New Toronto Street. So that was from Alison Gibbons. I have been on the phone. I've been online. I called the police. I was not charged. There was no report filed that day that I went in, and the police, Jeff, gave me this trespassing notice thing. Warning. That's what it was. It was a warning. It wasn't a notice. It was a warning. So I called the police to ask them for some information on how to charge Jeffrey Wong personally, not the Daily Bread Food Bank, obviously not Daily Bread Food Bank, and the staff there. Peoples and Cultures Department, no, Jeffrey Wong himself. Jeffrey Wong has been known to repeatedly threaten people, and he was seen in the production hall on the cameras a couple of nights ago with Sandra Long, and Sandra Long had documents to fulfill orders, and Jeffrey Wong, they had found them in his office. Sandra Long had parked out by the gate 2, I think I mentioned this, gate 2, and she was coming in to fulfill orders, and she stole 7,000 pounds of food. Anyway, Sandra Long, I saw her at the window of my apartment building. She was peeking in, and apparently now she's over at the police station. I don't know why. The police officer had stated to me, because I wanted to charge Jeffrey Wong with slander, defamation of character, discrimination, and physical identity theft. I had contacted a lawyer online, and I spoke to them online, and they asked in particular what I wanted for the civil lawsuit, and how, what consequences, not consequences, but restitution, restitution I would like, any financial gain or anything. I said, no, I want a public apology by him at the Daily Bread Food Bank. I want to be reinstated as a volunteer and a client, and I think that's pretty much all I wanted, and to charge him with defamation of character. I did state in an email to Neil Hetherington, the CEO, to Jeffrey Wong, to Randa Charlton, a senior staff at the food bank, and to Trevor O'Neill, that as long as Jeffrey Wong continues to align himself with those such as Sandra Long, that was my sole reason for getting me out, because Sandra Long has been seen and charged over at the San Remo Bakery over at Sherway, attacking a woman there who charged her, and she landed her in the hospital. And Sandra Long has been charged for causing a disturbance and attacking a woman over at the St. Lawrence Market, thinking they were me. The other thing is that Jeffrey Wong thinks apparently this is what I'm hearing after this meeting, Jeffrey Wong thought I was bluffing. Well, I also spoke about the fact that I will continue my YouTube postings and telling the truth. I spoke that there are no federal or provincial laws about social media, as particular YouTube postings. Sure, they go through when I post it, if there was any restrictions or anything that's against the YouTube standards or their policies and procedures, but there's no laws that I can't say what I want. And the other thing I want to mention is that the reason why Jeffrey Wong, I saw him, that he was seen on camera, and see, I have to tell this online. I told this to the lawyer. He was seen on camera accepting a bribe from Sandra Long. Okay, so I mean, Sandra thinks that Jeff turned off, or Allison has turned off the cameras. They only flipped the switch for the Welcome Center. So the reality is, if they go in a Welcome Center, nobody would have seen them. But because they let them in through the ongoing staging and over by the gate 2 there, which the ongoing staging is just for, that goes out into the warehouse. And then there's a door that separates that and the production hall. So the surveillance cameras were on out in the parking lot, gate 1, out in the parking lot over by gate 2, out in the warehouse, and in the production hall. Sandra Long did have a little bit of a hissy fit, apparently, and this was seen all on camera. So that's where we're at. I am formally, I have laid charges. There has been a letter sent out by Mr. Hetherington to myself in regards to my future at Daily Bread, and I do know my future at Daily Bread is bright. I also know that as the police, as a lawyer investigates more and more the civil lawsuit, as a lawyer investigates more and more, they're gonna see the link between Sandra Long and Catch Fire Toronto and the other members of Catch Fire Toronto, and they're gonna see the link between that Daily Bread Food Bank at 191 Toronto Street and Alison Gibbons and Jeffrey Wong. So they're going to see that, and I mean that also continues on to what happened over in Scarborough and what happened there. So they're going to see the link with that as well. And Sandra Long's little side business. I would actually like to, this is just a side note, and this is actually totally unrelated to what's going on at Daily Bread Food Bank and myself. I would like to say that I was online looking for a lawyer this morning, and I came across something that was the Depo-Provera lawsuit. When I was in my early 30s, so this would have been where am I? I'm at 56, so we're looking at 25, almost 24 years ago, right? When I was in my early 30s, I had used Depo-Provera as a form of birth control. I was getting the injections, and after about, I would say, a number of months of using this, I had my stroke. And I had my subsequent 7 TIA strokes, and then I had my my heart attack as well. So I guess it's been founded that women who took Depo-Provera are developing brain tumors. I had spoken to the lawyer this morning, and I told him about my stroke. I went from having a full-time job at $11.95 an hour, which I know that was, you have to look at, like, that's over 20 years ago, when minimum wage was $9.95 or something. Full-time 40 hours a week, to being on ODSP. After I had my stroke as a result of taking Depo-Provera. I didn't know this at the time. I also spoke about the fact that I did see a CT scan, and the CT scan in my brain has shown that there were like 2 white spots at the back of my head. Now, I'm guessing that is related. I don't know. I'm not a physician. But when I spoke to the lawyer, he asked me if I had any evidence. So I guess somehow they can get a hold of it. They took a statement from myself, and I guess now I'm part of this big lawsuit with Depo-Provera. So if you did take Depo-Provera at any point in time, I would actually caution you to maybe go, and if you have suffered from anything, I guess, anything like brain tumors or heart attack or strokes or anything like that, they're finding that actual birth control and the injections, that's what caused it. And there's a massive lawsuit happening. So go online and see about it. Google it. and see, because I would encourage you to if you've had medical issues as a result of this, then you have to stand up for yourself. You can't just lay down and accept it. You have to be an advocate for yourself, and this could get you some money as well. And it's not always about money. I want to stress that out, because when they asked me if I wanted any financial gain from this whole thing with Daily Bread and suing Jeffrey Wong in a civil lawsuit, when they asked me that, I said, no, I want to go back to reinstated and volunteering. I want to reinstate as a client. I want to be reinstated I want a public apology. So it's not always about the money. It is in some forms, like when Sandra Long and Melanie and Ash and Janice Regato and they have like the microphone in my hearing aids and my old glasses that have the camera and the microphone that's still embedded in my ear canal that I have to have surgery. Yeah, that's about restitution. That's about money. That's about taking someone and wanting to ruin their lives and actually terrorize. And that's what that right there, that's about enough money. And to this day, Melanie Regato stands in that freaking office and issues death threats all day long, and I can hear her to me. Jonas Regato, he is still stalking, he's still following, he's trying to get my apartment, he's been seen around the building, and and Dallas Winston and Jonas Regato have been, they have actually dumped a van with all of those huge microphones and everything and steel boxes that was in St. Catharines. They dumped it, and then they have like this pounding in the whole area. So they're not only terrorizing me, I'm used to it, to be quite honest. It's been like 6 years, but they're also terrorizing the people of South Etobicoke South. And when I go up and down in that freaking Greg DeLorean or whatever, and they're playing that music, and that's called their calling card. Greg Satchel used to do that, and I guess Dallas and Georges have taken over. So they go up and down Lakeshore Boulevard West, and they go up and down Islington Avenue, and they go up and down Royal York Road, and without music, and they're terrorizing the people of Etobicoke South. They're terrorizing people like who live around the corner, my friends who live around the corner, my family who lives around the corner, and my spiritual family. I have some spiritual family that live around the corner. They're terrorizing the people in this building, and they keep going and going and going. And what that is that, and they're bringing in people like Sandra Long, and Sandra Long is bringing in people like Jeffrey Wong and Allison Gibbons, and because Allison Gibbons is weak-minded, she's a drug addict. That's known throughout Daily Bread. Anyways, but they're bringing in people like that, and then they're bringing in like my former roommate, and it's like a link and a link and a link and a link and a link, and so that's when you want to say, okay, that's when you want to say defamation of character, and you want to get restitution money. And that's when they were issued, my lawyer has issued a settlement of $500 million. But that's when Sandra Long had took all and depleted all of the monies from Cash Fire Toronto and hid it somewhere, or used it to buy food, or used it for her drug addiction. So whatever. But in this, with the Daily Bread Food Bank, I want to make it perfectly clear that I don't want money, that I want to be reinstated as a volunteer. I want to have my good name cleared and be reinstated, obviously, as a client, and a public apology. That's all I want, because I know that Jeffrey Wong was working together with Sandra Long to get me out of there. And that's all. I will also state that the Toronto Regional Police that were involved, they did not file the report. I did not get charged. They helped me out on getting some groceries when I was there on February 19th. 19th? 18th or 19th? Yeah, it was the 19th. So I have all that written down, and Jeffrey Wong himself is going to be sued personally, and how it's going to link back to Cash Fire Toronto. The other thing I just want to briefly state is that, excuse me, I was cutting onions earlier. I have a chemical reaction to onions. Someone, when I was in the library studying for when I was working for AOL Globe Life International, and I was studying my REMIC for my insurance agent's course, they had put a microphone on my laptop computer. So now I mean, just people. Um, so if you are attending Catch a Fire Toronto and it's linked to the auditorium now, so they can't turn it off. They don't know how to turn it off. They've tried to turn it off, but they can't turn it off, and that is Jonas Rogato's fault, right? So, anyways. So, if you're attending Catch a Fire Toronto this weekend, I am going to be on, and I will be speaking over the microphone, and they can play music or they can try to do it. But apparently last week it was heard to the point where Jonas Rogato contacted the police and said I was trespassing. So, I will be speaking. It is my voice. I will be sitting in my apartment over here in Etobicoke South. Yeah, so there you go. Also, I just want to a big shout out. I'm also volunteering for the Coldest Night of the Year in the kitchen. I don't think it's in the kitchen, I know it's outdoors. For the Coldest Night of the Year to raise money for people who are, they say homelessness, I like to say without a residence. They're 50% at their goal. So if you want to go log on and for Coldest Night of the Year, CNOW, and make a donation to help out those who need housing. So that's everything. That's my update, and I am having a open house party tomorrow, and I invited my friends from Daily Bread. Nobody RSVPs. So here's what God's told me, our Heavenly Father has told me to do. He's told me to make the food and wait. It's kind of like build it and they will come. So I'm hoping build it, make it, and they will come. And I hope everybody has a good rest of their day. It's 4:47 p.m. And as you're going into the weekend tomorrow, I hope and pray that you enjoy your weekend. And remember, we're at the end of February, so spring is looking hopeful.